Steve Gamache here with another Chef Knives to Go quick look product video, and today we're checking out the Saji Damascus R2 Gyuto 240mm knife. This striking looking line of knives has a core steel of R2 powdered metallurgy stainless steel, which has a great combination of edge retention all around properties. It's a tough, just remarkable, really nice steel. The heat treat rating is about 62 to 63 Rockwell on this core steel, and the construction is a multi-layered stainless Damascus style cladding over the top of that core steel, and you can see that rolling into the edge there as it gets down the grind of the knife where it tightens up on the pattern. Really a striking knife, gunmetal gray with shiny spots in between and the Damascus. It's a really cool looking knife. The weight of the knife is 171 grams or 6 ounces, so definitely on the medium light side. The blade length is 247 on this particular sample. They can vary, so this is a pretty long one, almost 250. The overall length is about 15.3 inches. The spine on these is this one's about 2.5 millimeters, and this shows you the multi-layered concept of the knife. So it shows you the cladding on each side and the core central steel making up the knife. It's called the true Sanmai cladding. The height at the heel is 51, so it's got a nice generous height on it, which fits the more lengthy 247 length of this knife. And the handle is, these will probably vary with different handles, but this one is a semi-custom Isaiah Wenge tiger maple handle, and real nice fit and finish on this handle. This one's a little undersized compared to some. I think it's one of his older ones, but it's got a 70 millimeter circumference here, a little under 3 inches. It could be a little bigger in my opinion to fit this size of knife, but hopefully he'll put some little bit larger handles on the other ones of these. The knife does have a nice extended rounded choil into the Gyuto or neck for a good pinch grip area. And I will say on this particular model, it's a little rough back here. It kind of has a little bit of a bulge in it and then a little chink in it, or I should say a bulge right there, a little bump in it. This could be finished off a little nicer. And the spine too has a little bit of a sharp edge on the corners. You might want to sand that down. But other than that, the grind of the blade is really nice. The tips aren't super thin on these. Let's see, we already covered that. The tips aren't super thin on these, but they do go through product pretty well, but they're not going to just glide through things like onions quite as well as some knives. It doesn't have a huge distal taper on it. The middle part of the blade really works nicely, even better than the tip, and has pretty good non-stick properties with the grind of the knife. It doesn't wedge too much at all, but it's enough thickness coming off the edge to push product out of the way, so it's fairly non-stick actually. And you've got some nice chiseled kanji, although it's kind of hard to tell them in the light. The profile on this blade looks like this. It's a relatively flat profile, almost a touch Funayuki style profile. And here's the choil shot, which it gets pretty thin towards the edge. Let's take a look on the board. So this knife doesn't have a ton of belly, so for those of you who like a bit flatter profile, this one moves in a nice long flat spot. So you got a nice long flat spot on the blade. Glides nicely into that. Not a huge amount of belly to it, so if you like an overall flatter profile, this is a good knife for you. Balance point on this blade is right about there. The handle's fairly light because it's a little smaller. A little in front of a pinch grip, but it gives you a little bit of weight to the blade. Beautifully crafted blade, super, just beautiful looking knife. Just a real head turner of a blade. Great long edge retention, core steel, the R2 powdered metallurgy steel. Really interesting offering from Saji. So there you have the Saji Damascus R2 steeled Gyuto 240mm knife.